Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday Addiction Homework Planner workshop with Megan and myself, Ryan.
Hi.
Cool. So, Megan, load shedding again gave us problems, as I'm sure it did everyone else. Um, so I scrambled to get this up and running at the last minute. So we're running a little bit behind schedule, but I just want to quickly let everybody know. I'm gonna quickly go through this brief. I haven't done it in the last couple of live streams, so I just want to quickly go through it again for anybody that wants to understand what we're doing. Excuse me. So, uh, MyRehab Cafe is basically. Are you okay, Megan?
Sorry, Ryan.
Oh, no,
I just
okay,
had
cool.
to the wind was banging the door. I just wanted to close
Cool,
it. Sorry.
cool. All right, so MyRehab Cafe is an initiative that is sort of brought to you by ARC Addiction Recovery Centers, and we're doing a rebrand, and we're changing our names to the MyRehab dual diagnosis group of addiction centers, and so MyRehab Cafe is a community of like-minded individuals that are actively pursuing a process of self-discovery. So the community is based within a private and unsearchable or secret group on Facebook. So basically what this means is there are two privacy settings for Facebook groups, right? There's public, which means that anyone on or off Facebook can see who's in the group and what they post. And there's another type of group, which is a private group, which means that only members can see who's in the group and what they post. So the group has an additional setting. So the MyRehab Cafe group is a private group, and it has an additional setting activated, which also makes it a secret Facebook group. So this means that it is a private group which is completely hidden from non-members. Only members on the group can find it, and new members can only be added at the invites of admins. So nobody outside the group will be aware of its existence except where I speak about it here, and nobody can apply to join. So we broadcast live videos like this one to a few public channels, which I'll get to in a moment. The MyRehab Cafe group has exclusive access to loads of content that isn't available to any of the members on the MyRehab public channels. So there's a lot of things happening there, like mutual self-help groups. There's worksheets that we post. Group members get to interact with each other in a confidential way. So there's a lot happening. The vast majority of the members on the group are patients that have been through the MyRehab inpatient dual diagnosis rehab process. In a lot of ways, the group is structured as an aftercare program, and it's designed to keep individuals engaged in a program of recovery, or as we like to call it, a process of ongoing self-discovery. So what is the MyRehab Helper? Now, the MyRehab Helper is another aspect of the MyRehab initiative, and it's a Facebook profile. It is essentially represented as a singular and personified version of a group of mental health and addiction specialists. So myself and Megan fall in with that sort of definition. Well, not so much myself, but Megan would, and the other psychologists and clinical psychologists and counseling psychologists at ARC and the social worker. The MyRehab Helper Facebook profile is a public profile, so anyone on or off Facebook can see any of the content that the MyRehab Helper posts. It serves as somewhat of a window to the services offered to the MyRehab Cafe community. So normally a lecture, workshop, mutual self-help meeting that is broadcast as a live video to the MyRehab Cafe has its first 10 or 20 minutes broadcast to the public channels like the MyRehab Helper profile and the MyRehab Facebook page. This is so that anyone who is not on the exclusive MyRehab Cafe group can benefit from some of the content that the MyRehab group is generating. So for today's broadcast, we're currently broadcasting to the ARC MyRehab Facebook page, the MyRehab Helper Facebook profile, the duly diagnosed YouTube channel, and that'll be for the first 10 to 20 minutes. We're also broadcasting to the MyRehab Cafe group, and that broadcast will see the live broadcast through to the end of the 50 or 60 minutes that the workshop takes. So if you're a member of MyRehab Cafe, of the MyRehab Cafe group, make sure that you're watching via the correct channel so you don't get cut off when the live feed ends. If anybody wants to participate, whether you're on the public channel or the MyRehab Cafe channel, I'm going to post the link and you guys can hop on and have a conversation with myself or Megan and go through the worksheet. Because I've been running behind, I haven't had a chance to do that. So I'm going to do it now quickly. everybody can just bear with me. Let me just do that. Okay. Geez. Okay. Need to just refresh everything. Otherwise, Megan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I can't complain. The weather here in Durban is looking up. Just windy, but yeah, it was touch and go for this group. I was wondering if I was going to be able to make it, but luckily our load shedding didn't happen. So I'm excited that I can be here and that we can do this.
Yeah.
I think these workshops are fantastic. I think they create opportunities for one to really, you know, go beneath the surface and prompt a lot of questions that one could ask themselves. So I really enjoy being part of these groups.
Awesome.
Workshops.
Thanks. Pleasure having you do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll hopefully we can continue to do this for foreseeable future. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I've got the worksheet open. I'm going to share it and we can start going through it. Share screen. Okay, so this is about working on independence, and it comes from the addiction planner. It is what number is this? It's 50. There, 69. Self-care deficit as a secondary problem. Working towards independence. I randomly selected that one. I hope it works out.
Excellent topic.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Addictive lifestyles have a negative impact on personal independence. Continuing in an addictive lifestyle can interfere with effectively carrying out independent activities of daily living. So banking, shopping, interacting with others, responding to crisis, organizational skills, utilizing community resources, and can ultimately undermine an individual's ability to live independently. This exercise asks you to take an inventory of your independent daily living skills and will help you make some decisions about areas on which you can begin to work. Just a quick message to anybody that's watching on the MyRehab Cafe group. I don't know if I posted the link. If you do want to participate and you can't find it, just let me know. Send a message, please, and I'll sort that out. Okay, so what positive and negative experiences have you had with your day-to-day activities of independent living while you've been engaging in your addiction? So, I mean, I suppose different answers would obviously apply to different individuals. I suppose it depends on the scale of sort of how far people took the apply to different. Well, sorry. Turn that down. Any comments on that from your end, Megan?
So if I'm understanding this question, it's referring to whilst being in active addiction.
Sure. So what positive and negative experiences have you had with your day-to-day activities of independent living?
I think that, one could easily think in active addiction, well, I'm living independently, so I can use as much as I like. I can, get access to drugs and alcohol as I wish and all of that stuff. But I think what is really coming up for me here when I hear the word independence is how many of us can think we are independent, but we are actually codependent on somebody or something, but still thinking that I'm living independently. I think it's a very interesting topic because I think one can easily mistake the independence for codependence. When you are perhaps using with somebody or codependence on a substance, the question is, are you then actually independent? Or a word I even, I love to refer to as interdependence when you're in a relationship with somebody. So I think it's such an interesting topic that can really be unpacked because I think, independence is quite a profound subject to speak about when coming to into well when addressing it in addiction.
Yeah.
Mm.
So if we just have to go back to the some of the things that were said at the top here. So, e.g., banking, shopping, interacting with others, responding to crisis, organizational skills, utilizing community resources. So I think some people might, where they live with a family that, as you mentioned, where there's an element of codependency. The family might seek to try and control the person's movements, for example.
Yeah.
So limiting them having the ability to go, to the shops or interact with others in a general way, or they'll might take the car away, for example. So I think that's
I think also, whilst in addiction, living independently, I think that the negatives could come with that is if we are living independently, the risks that can be taken are, I want to say, almost a lot easier. So if I'm living independently and I refer to shopping as an example, I mean, you could get yourself into so much debt shopping if there's nobody monitoring your money, your finances. You could really get yourself into some challenging situations financially if you are living independently in addiction, because there's no accountability. A very strong word there, accountability. There's no one to be accountable to, or you know maybe there's nobody assisting you at that stage to keep your independence healthy, so to speak. So I think it could get out of control.
Something that really comes to mind for me as well is the potential shame that you might feel going to a shop or whatever it be, and you've maybe sort of fear the risk of running into somebody that you've had a conflict with as a result of drinking or using, or so. And the reason that came to mind, so this was 100 years ago. It was like 18 years ago, but I got so incredibly blackout drunk, and I ended up parked on the side of the road, blackout drunk, crying, or I don't know what I was doing, but I was in my car and it was bad. And these I don't know if it was the CMS guys or if it was actual police, but they pulled over and they knocked on my window, and eventually I opened it, and one of them got in the driver's seat, and they put me in the back of this whatever vehicle it was that they were using, and they drove me to this. We stopped off at this garage, and I had some money in my cubbyhole, and they stole the money, put me back in the driver's seat, and left. And I was obviously, in a bad way, and I sped off, and I what I believe happened, what I was told happened the next day. So I apparently drove through this garage and sort of made quite a scene. It was quite an episode that they were talking about, and they were talking about it for a couple of days afterwards. So anyway, I managed to survive that, and I got home and I woke up the next day, and I went to the garage to buy whatever, buy a packet of smokes, and I got there, and these guys started telling me the story, and I had no recollection of it. And those kinds of things sort of happened on a daily basis. I mean, I was drinking and blacking out on a daily basis, and sort of having these episodes in public places. And eventually it was just like, geez, okay, I want to avoid all public spaces, because I became so embarrassed and ashamed of sort of what might have happened that I don't recall, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think that a lot of people can relate to the shame and embarrassing moments that one could recall during the time of active addiction. Absolutely. I think this is also very interesting in terms of the workshop that you had last night with the attorney, which was really a great workshop as well, because often independence can be lost, and that's when court orders come in, for substance abuse and whatnot. So again, like I say, a very interesting topic indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, I mean, again, and then there's a spectrum, a wide spectrum of the types of individuals that come through treatment. So it's not always the guy that's landed up in the gutter and sort of
Right.
been on the street for 6 months and kind of his family have now sort of resorted to a court order. I suppose that's an
Correct.
extreme kind of example of on the one end of the spectrum, and on the other end of the spectrum, we've had people come through for treatment that it's bad enough for them, but by sort of when compared to that extreme standard, it's like as mild as can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the point being, they want to make a change in their lives. They want to sort
Right.
of move in a positive, healthy direction. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So okay. So let's wrong button. Get on to the next question. Okay, what are 3 ways in which your addiction threatens your personal independence? 3 ways. So, well, again, as you mentioned, our family can take steps, go legal route, get a social worker involved. And once that sort of process starts happening and you get sucked into that whole thing, it's going to rob you of your independence 100%. There's no,
Right. Right.
whether there's an outcome that the family wants or not, it's going to be a problem.
And and also, of course, the loss of independence when it comes to losing jobs, losing income, losing your vehicles, losing your homes, losing your stability. I mean, all of that is a loss of independence, which is which we can easily lose whilst being in active addiction.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What problems have you had because you neglected or avoided daily living tasks or relied on others to do them for you while you're actively engaged in an addictive lifestyle? Go ahead,
Sure.
Megan.
Also, a very deep question. You know, certainly. Like I said, a lot of prompts could be made with that question if one looks deeply enough.
So,
Yeah.
what problems have you had because you neglected or avoided daily living tasks? So, a big thing, and this might just seem like a silly thing to a lot of people, but when you're engaged in a lifestyle of active addiction, I think something that happened with me was my teeth. Taking care of my teeth was something that obviously needs to happen on a regular, ongoing basis, and sort of like even medical checkups. But one thing I remember somebody said to me, if she was quite an elderly lady, and she said, I asked her, I was like, if you could have your life over again, what would you do differently? And she said, well, I've taken better care of my teeth. And I know firsthand from my own experiences as well. Yeah, that's teeth are important, man.
Yeah.
So don't neglect those things. If you need to go for regular checkups, medical checkups, do that. I suppose you won't if you're in active addiction.
I mean, in active addiction, it's it's those daily tasks and responsibilities that one could fail to that one could neglect. Whether it's things like looking after your children, to things like grocery shopping, to bring groceries into the house, to things like going to work.
Getting to work on time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's as you would say, a whole spectrum of things that could be, disregarded on a daily basis for addiction or during addiction. And the thing is, once I think as it goes on, so the shame increases, the guilt increases. What you were speaking about earlier, it just increases and increases, and of course, your self-esteem just becomes lower and lower. So it's a lot to to work through and to process when entering your journey of self-discovery as well, is to try and mend those things and grow your self-esteem again in those areas where you feel you had neglected before. It can also be an exciting journey, and it can also be very empowering. But I think that it's also difficult in terms of the things we have to face and own up to when entering our journey and reflecting back on our behaviors.
Megan, time's up on the public channels. I'm going to switch over to the intermission, and we're going to go over to the MyRehab Cafe group. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to try and get through that in the next 30 seconds. Thanks to everyone on the public channels that's watched. Thank you. If you want to find out more about joining the MyRehab Cafe group, you can go to www.myrehabcafe.com. So it's not the .co.za, but if you go to the .co.za, myrehab.co.za, you'll be able to find the link. It's but go to the myrehab.com. It's the easiest way to get there. Thanks, guys. Or send me a WhatsApp as per the ticker thing at the bottom of the screen. Cool.